the years of my life, I would say the 20 years of the 3 years of working as an entertainer.
Sequins, blinding, energy, off the charts. That's the Tina Turner we all know, the queen of stagecraft, the icon who could make a stadium shake just by flicking her hair. But behind that dazzling spotlight and powerhouse vocals, there's a darker, juicier story simmering under the surface. And it starts with something far more chilling than stage fright. A list of names she never wanted to hear. Now, here's the thing about Tina. She wasn't the type to go on talk shows and air dirty laundry. No Twitter rants, no dramatic tell-all interviews every 6 months. Her silence? It was lethal. Sharper than a diss track. Colder than a Grammy snub. You didn't need to hear her say she hated someone. You could feel it in the icy calm, the missed duets, the interviews where she left names out with the precision of a scalpel. And guess what? There weren't 20 or even 10 of them. Just 6 names. 6 artists who pushed her so far that their names became like ghosts in her story. And when Tina Turner held a grudge? Oh, honey, it wasn't petty. It was epic. Ike Turner, the man who sparked the fire. Let's kick this off with the biggest, boldest name on Tina Turner's blacklist. Ike Turner, a man who wasn't just her musical partner, but also the architect of her worst nightmares. Now, from the outside, they looked like a soul-powered dream team. The kind of duo that made audiences scream and critics swoon. But behind those chart-topping hits and matching stage outfits was something far darker. Ike didn't just manage Tina, he controlled her. From her hairstyle to her stage moves, even down to her money, nothing was truly hers. And let's not sugarcoat it. It was abuse, plain and brutal. Tina endured it all, night after night, performance after performance. He beat her, broke her down, and convinced her that no one else would want her. And the worst part? For a while, she believed him. But here's the twist. Tina didn't just walk away. She escaped, barefoot and bloodied, in the dead of night with only 36 cents and a gas station credit card. That's not just survival, that's cinematic. And when she finally told the world her story, it wasn't a sob story. It was a power move. She didn't want pity. She wanted freedom. And that, my friend, is how you turn pain into power. When David Bowie laughed, and Tina Turner never forgot. All right, gather round because this one is a spicy blend of rock legends, awkward party vibes, and a moment so icy it could have frozen an entire room. We're talking about David Bowie, the glam rock god himself, and how he ended up on Tina Turner's personal no-fly list. Now, on paper, these two should have been a match made in musical heaven. Both bold, both iconic, both larger than life. But what actually happened? Well, it all went off the rails at one wild party in the early 1980s. So picture it. Late night, dim lights, music legends mingling, and Bowie holding court in the center of the room. Loud, charming, maybe a little too buzzed. That's when it happened. He started cracking jokes, not just industry gossip or goofy stories. No, he made a comment about Tina's abusive past with Ike, calling it character building. And just like that, the room fell silent. Tina didn't yell. She didn't storm out. She smiled. A tight, frozen smile that said everything without a single word. That moment changed everything. Whatever admiration she once had, gone. Offers to collaborate after that? Rejected. Because for Tina, pain wasn't punchline material. And forgiveness? That was earned, not assumed. Tina Turner versus Aretha Franklin. Now this one. Oh, it's the stuff diva showdowns are made of. Imagine two royal thrones side by side, one dripping in sequins, the other in soul, and both occupied by queens who absolutely refused to bow. We're talking about Tina Turner and Aretha Franklin, two unstoppable forces in the world of music. And let's just say their relationship was less sisterhood and more silent standoff. Back in the late 1960s, when Tina's star was rising like a glittery comet, Aretha apparently didn't take kindly to the competition. And while there were no screaming matches or hair-pulling headlines, the tension? Oh, it was thick enough to cut with a rhinestone-studded mic stand. According to insiders, Aretha once shaded Tina with the now infamous line, "She screams, I sing." Ouch. That dig echoed through the industry like a bad harmony. From that point on, things stayed chilly. Award shows, booked together, but never seen chatting. Duet offers? Tina declined one in 1983 with absolutely zero fanfare, just classy silence. The message was clear. Tina Turner didn't fake friendships. If you questioned her artistry, she wasn't going to fight back in the press. She let her performances do the talking, and every standing ovation was her answer. Tina Turner and Madonna were two queens from very different kingdoms. On the surface, this could have been an iconic duo. One's the rock and roll phoenix who rose from the ashes. The other's the pop provocateur who danced her way through cultural boundaries. But instead of a powerhouse collab, we got silence, side eyes, and serious tension. By the mid-1980s, Madonna was exploding across the charts with a brand built on rebellion and reinvention. Critics started comparing her bold style, high-octane stage presence, and edgy persona to Tina's earlier trailblazing performances. And while Tina had no problem with being an influence, what she did have a problem with was the lack of respect. In interviews, Madonna casually dismissed older artists as out of touch, and let's just say, that didn't sit well with Miss Turner. Tina, then in her 40s and still dominating the charts with hits like Private Dancer, didn't appreciate being brushed aside. She never fired back publicly, but when the two crossed paths at a star-studded gala in 1992, there wasn't so much as a smile exchanged. No words, no nods, just pure, polished frost. For Tina, respect wasn't optional. It was earned. And Madonna? She just didn't make the cut. Phil Spector promised the moon and left Tina Turner in the dark. Now this one is the kind of betrayal that doesn't come with screaming matches or tabloid headlines, but trust me, the silence was deafening. Let's talk Phil Spector, the so-called wall of sound genius who once called Tina Turner the most powerful female voice in rock. And for a moment, it looked like something huge was on the horizon. Studio sessions were teased, rumors swirled, and Tina? She was ready. She cleared her schedule, prepped her voice, and got herself into battle mode. But then, crickets. Total radio silence. No call, no explanation, no apology, just nothing. Turns out, Phil ditched the project and handed it to Ronnie Spector instead. And Tina? She found out like everyone else, through industry whispers. Imagine preparing for a career-defining moment only to be replaced without so much as a heads up. That's not just unprofessional, it's downright humiliating. Tina never publicly blasted him. Nope. She did what she did best. She iced him out. Forever. Ask her about Phil in interviews, and all you got was stone-cold silence. And honestly, that silence said more than any diss track ever could. Because when Tina Turner closed a door, especially on someone who betrayed her professionally and personally, it stayed shut, locked, and double-bolted. Tina Turner and Elton John, a duet destined to detonate. Now this is the kind of celebrity clash that deserves its own stage. Enter Tina Turner and Elton John, two living legends, two towering personalities, and one unforgettable backstage blowout. On paper, it sounded like magic, a joint performance combining Tina's raw firepower with Elton's flamboyant flair. But in reality, it was a volcano waiting to erupt, and boy, did it erupt. It all went down in the late 1980s, during rehearsals for what was supposed to be a spectacular TV special. Things kicked off fine, until Tina, ever the perfectionist, started calling out Elton for being, well, a little too casual with the details. She wanted tight steps, polished vocals, and zero room for sloppiness. Elton, on the other hand, was not exactly thrilled about being bossed around. He snapped back, calling her impossible and accusing her of acting like a general. And just like that, boom! Mic stands were slammed, voices were raised, and rehearsal turned into a rock and roll battlefield. They still did the show, sure, but on stage, smiles couldn't hide off-stage daggers. They never collaborated again. Tina never publicly addressed the feud, but those close to her said it all. She thought Elton loved the spotlight more than the soul. And in her world, that was a deal-breaker. Conclusion: Tina Turner's silence was louder than any mic drop. So here we are, at the end of the list. Not just 6 names, but 6 unforgettable lessons in boundaries, survival, and next-level diva dignity. Tina Turner wasn't just a superstar. She was a storm wrapped in sequins. And if you made her blacklist, oh, honey, you earned it. But what makes her shade so iconic is that it was never messy. There were no screaming matches on red carpets or rants on late-night talk shows. Her silence was the message, and trust me, it hit harder than any headline ever could. Each name on that list, whether it was Ike's brutal betrayal, Bowie's tasteless joke, Aretha's rivalry, Madonna's shade, Phil's ghosting, or Elton's meltdown, was more than a grudge. They were reminders. Reminders of what she had endured, what she had overcome, and who she refused to become. And instead of letting those wounds define her, Tina flipped the script. She wore her scars like stilettos, painful, but powerful. In the end, Tina didn't need to look back or explain herself. She just kept walking, chin up, heels high, blazing a trail for every woman who ever wanted to own the stage and never apologize for demanding respect. Tina Turner didn't start the fights. She just made sure no one forgot who finished them.